Welcome to Shree Magical Story. In a bright village at the edge of a great forest, there is one place no one dares to go, the cave on the hill. The people here have spent years telling stories about the monster inside, building a wall of fear without checking if the stories were true. You can see that fear in action whenever the dragon peeks out. The village children don't just walk away, they scramble for safety, convinced they're seconds away from a disaster. But if they stayed still, they would see a strange sight. This dragon, Ember, doesn't breathe fire. He sneezes, and with every sneeze, a burst of roses and sunflowers flies into the air, landing softly on the grass. When a whole community decides a neighbor is a monster, they stop looking at the details. They see a harmless dragon and a pile of daisies, and somehow they still see a threat. Only 7-year-old Zara sees it differently. While the other children run, she watches from her window. She notices that Ember doesn't look aggressive. He looks lonely, hiding in the shadows with his head down. Zara's father strictly forbids her from going near the cave, repeating the same warnings he heard when he was a boy. But Zara is more interested in what she sees for herself than the stories her father inherited. She begins keeping a record of the truth. In her sketchbook, she has drawn him not as a beast, but as a gentle gardener. To her, the flowers aren't a trick, they're a clue. Finding the truth usually means looking past the stories everyone else is telling. It takes a specific kind of quiet observation to see the reality hiding behind a wall of gossip. Eventually, the village's anxiety reaches a breaking point. Elder Otto calls a meeting to demand that the dragon be chased away forever, insisting the village is no longer safe. The scene is almost ridiculous. While Otto yells about danger, a single daisy drifts down from the hill and lands right on his nose. Even as a tiny mouse named Pip tries to defend the dragon, the village is too busy laughing or yelling to see the irony. Zara decides she has waited long enough. At dawn, she sneaks out of her house and climbs the hill alone, determined to finally meet Ember face to face. The meeting is sudden and loud. Startled by a visitor, Ember lets out his biggest sneeze yet. A wall of petals hits Zara, and she is instantly buried. For a moment, it looks like the village's warnings were right after all. When you try to change a long-held belief, the first result is often a mess. The path to a new friendship can look a lot like a disaster before the air finally clears. Then the flowers move. Zara climbs out of the pile, laughing and covered in petals. Ember is horrified, but Zara's joy proves the dragon isn't a danger. He's just misunderstood. Grandma Flora arrives to explain what the rest of the village forgot. She has known Ember's secret for years, and she understands why he changed. As this diagram shows, Ember was a typical fire-breathing dragon. But one freezing winter, he used his heat to keep a shivering family warm. That single choice changed him. His inner fire turned into a garden, leaving him unable to cause harm again. Hearing his own history out loud changes Ember. He looks at his claws and his flowers, realizing for the first time that he doesn't have to be ashamed of being different. The village misread the evidence. The flowers they feared were simply the physical proof of a kindness so deep it changed the dragon's nature. Zara leads Ember down from the hill and straight into the village square. It is a direct, undeniable confrontation between the town's oldest fear and the reality standing right in front of them. Ember takes a deep breath and, for the first time, doesn't try to hold it back. A massive storm of flowers fills the sky, and a rain of petals falls over every roof and garden in the village. The sight is undeniable. Watching the children play in the falling flowers, the villagers can't hold on to their old stories anymore. The fear that took years to build disappears in a single afternoon. Zara stood by Ember when no one else would, and that trust gave him the courage to show the village who he really was. Once they saw the beauty he could create, they didn't need any more convincing. The village looks different now. Flowers are growing in every corner, and even Elder Otto can be found quietly tending a new garden. The dragon they once wanted to banish is now the very person helping the town bloom. Zara ties her red ribbon around Ember's wrist, a simple sign that the dragon and the girl are now permanent friends. The old hill isn't a place of mystery anymore. Ember has moved his garden into the center of the village, and the cave is just a place where Pip the mouse keeps his tiny crowns. Most people see a difference and assume it's a problem. But if you're willing to look closer, like Zara did, you might find that those differences are exactly what a community needs to grow.